welcome to Sector Wrap. And today we are going to talk about two important sectors, auto sector and information technology sector, the IT sector. First, let's talk about the auto space. And I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Shashank Kanodia, Lead Analyst Auto, ICICI Direct. Welcome, Mr. Kanodia.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for
Shashank,
having us over.
Shashank, let's talk about the auto sector, which has been, in news for quite a bit of time now. The pent-up demand that we saw in auto sector post, COVID crisis that lasted for around 5 to 6 months, that led some strength to this sector. Now, what is your view? The demand is now not that buoyant as was expected.
Yeah, hi. So, to start with, we have a neutral view on the sector. And to start with, we were quite positively surprised by the demand resilience, which was witnessed by the rural-facing pockets in the initial part of the fiscal year during the COVID pandemic. So, to the likes of motorcycles and tractors, so these were the segments which are leading the demand recovery. If we talk about the later part of the fiscal year, then we had urban mobility which picked up pace, primarily driven by the need for personal mobility. So in that segment, we had scooters and passenger vehicle segments demand which is quite robust, and they are the ones who are picking up pace presently. In the passenger vehicle segment, particularly, the demand is quite robust, and we have one of the cleanest of the channel inventories. And had it not been a semiconductor shortage, global phenomena, we could have even more better sales volume at the OEM levels. So
Okay.
this is largely pertaining to the auto space. On the rural front, again, tractors have been a clear outlier because of robust farm cash flows as well as record procurement of food grains by the government of India. So tractors is a clear outlier and has outperformed the entire industry, going by something like 20% on YTD basis, versus a decline for rest of the segment.
Mhm. But if we see the data which is coming on monthly basis, there has been a growth in all the segments of the auto sector. But the data which is given by FADA, which says that on factory output, the demand has not been that buoyant. I mean, would you buy that data that they're sharing with us now?
Yeah, so it depends upon the segments that they're talking about. So obviously the two-wheeler demand has kind of pulled off vis-a-vis the last quarter, wherein it was a pent-up phenomena and plus we had the festive season, so we drove the entire volumes. Whereas in the passenger vehicle segment, the demand prospects are still robust and actually a good problem to have, wherein the supply is not really enough to match up to the demand
Okay.
prospects. Yeah, and CV space, as you rightly are aware, I think is a cusp of cyclical recovery. So there the things are getting better on the incremental basis.
Mhm. What is your view on the company like Maruti, which has been losing its market share lately?
Yeah, so we don't hold any positive view on Maruti. So we have a couple of reasons for it. The first and foremost, obviously, they have been losing market share on the overall pie. Plus, these guys have not been really able to innovate in the UV category, right? So Brezza being the only best-selling model that they have in the C segment mid-size SUV, whereas the competitors have launched quite innovative products. Checking the company is pretty slow on transition towards the technology landscape which is prevalent in the industry right now, right? So they are slow on introduction of electric vehicles and stuff. And plus, it trades in exorbitantly high valuations vis-a-vis its past history. It's trading at more than 30 times forward price to earning multiples, so
Mhm.
which makes us quite negative on Maruti as a stock.
Mhm. And your view on Tata Motors, which has lately been doing very good?
Yeah, so Tata Motors had also taken us by the surprise, and last 2 quarters, what has actually turned around for them is the operational performance at JLR, right? So the last 2 quarters, it has been a double-digit trajectory at JLR, and now they have planned and a clear outline for converting Jaguar as a brand to be a full electric by 2025, right?
Mhm.
They are talking about being FCF positive starting FY23 and being a net cash company starting FY25. So
Mhm.
I think the management is addressing quite a concern, in terms of the heavy capex spend, the balance sheet deleveraging, and we should drive really the earnings and the returns of the company. So we hold a positive view, and we have a buy rating with a target price of 350 rupees per share.
Mhm. Which segment of the industry do you think is going to be a growth driver, and you are bullish on?
Sorry, I didn't get the first part.
Which segment of
Which
the
industry?
industry are you bullish on?
Yeah, so presently we are most bullish upon commercial vehicle segment as an industry, which we feel is a cusp of cyclical recovery. As you are aware that the commercial vehicles is a cyclical space which drives its confidence from the economic cycles as well as infrastructure spend, right? And usually it's normally a 2-year down cycle, and presently we are in the 23rd month of down cycle. So we believe with the kind of volume prints which are reported by the Tata Motors or the Ashok Leyland or the VECV arms or the Eicher Motors, we have roundabout turned that corner. And this is despite buses not being largely witnessing good demand prospects because of schools and colleges still being shut. Right. So just the truck segment is something which is driving the positive demand drivers on that front. To give you a perspective about the decline, we are down roughly 40-45% for the industry from the peaks. So we did a volume of roughly 10 lakh units in FY19, and now this year we should be closing something by around 5.3 to 5.5 lakh odd units. Okay. In the MSCV space, we have gone back by at least 12 years in terms of the volumes that we clocked. In the LCVs, we have gone back by at least 4 years. So given the the sharp downturn that is being witnessed and it being a cyclical play, we believe that we have turned that corner and we are on an up move of this cyclical uptick. Plus, given that the government is focusing more upon the infrastructure spend and the growth-oriented union budget, we feel commercial vehicle industry should really do good over the next few years, and we expect at least 30-35% kind of a volume growth over FY21 to 23 for the industry.
And what are your top picks in that space, Shashank?
Yeah, so in that particular segment on the auto OEM front, we have Ashok Leyland as a top bet. It being a pure play CV OEM, that's why we have published on Ashok Leyland. Then apart from this, in the ancillary space, we like the forging companies which are like Forging. Then we have Minda Corporation, which we like a lot. On the tire space, again, which I associate with the CV space, we like Apollo Tires and JK Tires. We do understand that for most of the players, it's almost one of the peak margins that they've clocked in the recent past due to the sharp rise in the commodity prices. But we still believe, given that the robust demand prospects which lie ahead of them, we could still see some operational benefits for them. And the best part is the names that we like are all focusing upon sweating of assets, delivering on balance sheet, and we should eventually drive the better international market.
Shashank, your view on the changing technology landscape in the auto space with now we're talking about electric vehicles.
Yeah, so EV is a new buzzword, and we believe that EV is a reality, and it will be a reality in due course of time. To put things into perspective, we have some of the European nations which are talking about, which are contemplating upon complete ban of IC powered vehicles starting 2030 and onwards. Then we have the likes of Jaguar as a brand, the Tata Motors, JLR Ram, which is talking about complete electrification starting 2025, right? So the writing on the wall is quite clear that EV is a reality and it will be a future. However, its pace of adoption across the countries will depend upon the ecosystem which is developed around it in terms of the charging infrastructure, right? And to our investors, we would really advise them to curate their portfolios with stocks which are adaptable to this technology landscape and avoid stocks which are slow to this transition or the products which get obsolete because of the EV technology. But at least the valuation should adaptly capture this business risk. So this is one of the primary reasons because of which we don't like Maruti as a stock.
Which vertical of the auto space do you think will be quick to adoption of EV?
Yeah, so we have the likes of, so on the OEM in the ancillary fund, we can better get the answer. So the OEM fund, we have the likes of Tata Motors and M&M who are really driving the EV drive in India on the forefront. So Tata Motors Nexon EV is a best-selling passenger vehicle segment in the EV category, right? And M&M is providing the last mile connectivity or the delivery options for the e-commerce players. So I feel Tata Motors and M&M in the OEM front are the beneficiaries for it and are quickly adapting to the technology landscape. On the OEM front, we feel Gabriel India, who is one of the suppliers of suspension products to two-wheeler electric OEMs setting up shop in India. So Gabriel, Endurance Technologies, and maybe Unicotas will be a bet in the auto industry front, which should be played upon given the changing technology landscape in India.
One other segment that will benefit is the charging stations that we have to set. So which are the companies that one should keep in mind for investing?
Yeah, so for charging stations, we have less of the options in the listed space. right? So I think recently only Varroc has come up with some tie-up. I think yesterday or day before yesterday with some Canadian or the US company. But apart from this, in the auto ancillary space, we don't have many companies, who have this capabilities of developing the charging stations or the associated ecosystem around the EV space.
Mhm. Okay. Let's talk about the new scrappage policy, which is in the parliament, and we can expect that to be through very soon.
Yeah.
So, do you think that this
Yeah.
policy has been diluted and would not be beneficial to the extent that was thought before?
Yeah, so it is a tad below our expectations as well as state expectations, right? So we were expecting a financial incentive from the central government for the vehicle owners opting for scrap, right? For scrap policy. But on the contrary, so there is largely no financial assistance by the central government, and the onus of incentive has actually been passed to the OEMs,
Mhm.
right? So to that extent, it's muted in nature. But on the contrary, given that government has been focusing upon automated uh, fitness testing centers, which will have less of human intervention, and mandatory scrapping of CVs for greater than 15 years, and passenger vehicles for greater than 20 years. We feel structurally it's a step in the right direction, but the benefits will accrue to the industry in the later half of FY22 onwards. So
Mhm.
the benefits will largely flow back-ended in nature.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shashank, now the top picks in the auto space that you would recommend buying by your clients or by the retail investors.
Yeah, so we would still be positive upon the CV space, and that is a space which looks exciting to us. So our top picks on the auto EM will be Ashok Leyland. Then we like M&M, Mahindra and Mahindra. On the
Mhm.
ancillary fronts, we would like Minda Corporation, JK Tires, Apollo Tires, and Gift. So these will be the 6 top picks from our auto universe for our investors.
Mhm. And what do you expect from the quarter four earnings for auto companies?
Yeah, so quarter four, on YoY basis, we'll have obviously a good jump because for the last quarter was had an impact of COVID-induced thing.
Mhm.
Plus, the margins should actually cool off for a lot of the players because we are in a rising trend of commodity cycle, right? So
Mhm.
it will be interesting prospects wherein your volume growth will be higher double digit for all the players, whereas your margins could have been peaked. So this quarter is expected to be not as robust as what it was Q3, but it should be reasonably good.
Mhm. Thank you, Shashank, for being with us. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Now let's talk about IT sector. And to talk about this sector, I have with me Mr. Devang Bhatt, Lead Analyst IT, ICICI Director. Welcome, Devang.
Hi, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Devang, let's talk about the IT space. I mean, this is a space which has been buzzing from last 1 year. What is your view on this space? The kind of momentum that we saw in all these stocks, be it the frontliners, be it the mid caps in the IT space, will this performance continue in near future?
Yeah, see, what has happened is, as you know, that IT was already omnipresent,
Yeah.
but with now, with COVID as a impediment, what has happened is that people have changed. The consumer behavior has changed. Everybody now prefers to transact virtually over a smartphone and via uh, uh, handheld device or anything. So everybody wants to buy a product only via an app or you know not physically. So
Mhm.
what has happened is this has led to a virtualization of business model. So more and more enterprises, uh, in addition, what has happened is every business has to be up and running, and that has led to people shifting to work from home scenarios. In
Mhm.
this work from home scenarios, technology is gaining traction. As a result, new age technologies like cybersecurity,
Mhm.
to protect your business from work from home scenario, and app development that will help a customer to transact virtually,
Mhm.
and cloud, which will enable this seamless and efficient online transaction, are
Mhm.
witnessing robust growth.
Mhm.
So we expect technology to become an integral part of company spending,
Mhm.
and it will be a key to revenue growth for every business. So we believe that allocation to technology will make IT companies an indispensable to businesses.
Mhm. So you expect the performance to continue in the near future?
Yeah, it will be a multi-year kind of cycle.
That's what I'm asking. Is it a multi-year cycle? And many of the people say that we have we are left out of the rally. We didn't participate then. Is it the right time to really pick up some good quality IT shares?
Yes, definitely. See, the online version or virtualization of business has just started. It is just at a nascent stage. The entire business model of many companies are still not online. So this is just the first phase of a multi-year technology transformation. We believe that IT spending will only rise from here and will not decline as such.
The kind of margins that we saw for IT companies in the previous quarters, do you expect these margins to further expand for all these companies?
See, there might be certain headwinds in the near term, like there will be wage hike, and then when the economy opens up, there will be travel costs that will be increasing, other discretionary spend which was saved by them, facility costs which will increase. But what has changed in this pandemic is there is a rise in offshoring. So people are because you can work from anywhere, so why to have an on-site cost rather than offshore that?
Right.
And offshore is a very high margin. So this offshoring due to work from anywhere, and secondly they are rationalizing their subcontracting cost. These guys have also developed certain technologies which will automate their whatever costing that they have done, and there is pyramid rationalization. Plus, the value of these new age technology, the pricing is higher, and plus revenue growth will be robust. This will help in defensibility of margins going forward.
Okay.
So we might see a stable margin in FY22-23, but it will be higher than what FY20 levels were.
Which technologies do you expect to gain traction in medium to long term?
Yeah. So what has happened is earlier people on the business side were slow and not that agile. But now with the Netflix and Amazon, every business has to be agile. And with this pandemic, even more businesses have to be agile. So the first phase will be that people will shift to cloud-based foundation. This cloud-based foundation will give them agility, will give them that ability to help the customers to transact virtually from any devices. So 71% of Fortune 500 are still in the legacy framework. Legacy framework in the sense they still have the mainframe kind of a server. So these guys, their top priority is to migrate to cloud. 70% of CXOs are believing that they should migrate from traditional business to cloud business. So once this is the first phase that people will migrate to cloud. This is a multi-year kind of 2 to 3 years kind of an opportunity.
Okay.
After that, once they will realize the benefit of cloud, other technologies like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, data analytics, Internet of Things, these kind of things will be developed around cloud. And as a result, we believe global technologies will grow at least at a CAGR of 16% over the next FY21 to 25, of which 15 to 20% of growth will be contributed by cloud migration, application development, digital transformation, IoT, AI.
Okay.
So all in all, there is robust potential in these digital technologies which will drive IT companies' revenue going forward.
So would you prefer sticking to the frontline IT companies, or would you go for some mid caps and small caps which have been doing well?
Yeah. So we believe a mixed bag will happen. Like in the initial phase, large caps will benefit. Then over a period of time, the small and medium cap will benefit, because what happens is earlier large caps will have this scale benefit. So like if you see Infosys has won a Daimler deal because of their scale, TCS has won an Ireland deal. Similarly, Wipro has won a Metro deal. So because of their scale, they can absorb employees, and these guys benefit earlier. After that, post this pandemic, post when every business will have more money in their hand, they will look for niche businesses or niche IT companies which will give them good amount of niche in their own capability, and that will drive the mid cap to small cap transition. So that is what our thinking is.
Devang, do you expect the revenue mix for the IT companies to change in times to come?
Yes, definitely. So as of now, most of them have 30, 40, or even 50% of their revenues coming from digital. So as I said, legacy is a defocus kind of a thing for everybody, and everybody wants to transform to a digital scenario. So this mix will change more towards the digital pie compared to the traditional pie.
Okay, and if we talk about the geographies, most of the IT frontliners are getting the revenues from US subcontinent and the Eurozone region. But now we have seen a little shift to the Asia Pacific region. So what geographies do you think are going to give them good growth prospects?
Right. See, US will always be their base. And apart from US, what will happen is, as I've told you, that all these deals that these large cap companies have won in Daimler of Infosys, or Metro AG of Wipro, or Primerica of Ireland from TCS. These are all Europe-based companies. So what we are seeing is that all these Europe-based companies were not outsourcing that easy. Now with this pandemic, more and more European-based companies are outsourcing, which will benefit these IT companies, and everybody is now focusing more on US, on Europe. Apart from US, Europe they are focusing because there they think that there is a good potential over there.
Okay. The verticals that you think will be the growth push for these IT companies?
Yeah. See, right now, what has happened is, because of the pandemic, healthcare is gaining attraction. But even apart from healthcare, there are manufacturing companies which want to be scaled. Everybody wants to do that 3D printing, augmented IoT. Everybody is planning to have EVs. Everybody wants to have that battery management. So these manufacturing and ER&D companies in IIT will gain traction. Secondly, BFSI has always been a front runner in investing in IT. So obviously BFSI will be and BFSI has the highest share among IT companies. So BFSI will always drive the revenue growth. Apart from that, retail, as you see, the retail has been the most disrupted vertical as such, and they are all investing in migration towards cloud. They are all investing in inventory management and using AI. They are using different kind of technologies that will help them in managing their shelf. So BFSI, retail, healthcare, manufacturing, all these verticals should do well going forward.
Shashank, your top picks in IT space?
Yeah. So my topics are Infosys and HCL Tech among large caps. And within mid caps, we like LTI, Tech Mahindra, and Birlasoft. Like our bullishness on Infosys is because, if you see the last 4, 5 quarters or 6 quarters, they have outperformed TCS. They have also narrowed the margin gap between TCS and themselves. So we think, and the deal pipeline that they have won, Infosys will be a key beneficiary of this pandemic. And plus the valuation catch up should happen. That's why we are bullish on Infosys in large cap. LTI is one mid cap which is doing similar kind of job what a large cap company does, but it is a smaller company, but it has the potential to reach that large cap kind of thing. So LTI is what we are bullish on. Tech Mahindra, we are bullish because they have 40% of the revenue comes from communication, and 5G will be a key growth driver going forward, and Tech Mahindra will be a key beneficiary of this.
Now with the Q4 earnings around, which of the companies that you're expecting would be a beat on the street?
Yeah, so that we believe that Infosys, TCS, all of them should do well. If you see the Accenture's result, which has been recently announced, Accenture has reported robust set of numbers. So they have given around 4% QOQ growth. Their deal pipeline has improved around 12-13% in terms of outsourcing. They have revised their guidance forward. So we believe Q4 will be robust for all IT companies as well. Only thing is that in Q4 there will be margin hikes, wage hikes, which will hamper to their margins to a certain extent.
Thank you, Devang, for being with us. It was a pleasure speaking with you.